Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Utopia Show. I am your host Faria, and today, this episode is gonna be all about joy, finding happiness and joy in the smallest little things. And it's not like the fireworks kind. It's not like the dream job or like getting a diploma or like once in a lifetime vacation kind of a job, kind of a joy. I'm not talking about big things here. I am talking about the smaller little things that brings in happiness and joy into your life, and it's something that's gentler, something that is quieter. The joy of wearing warm socks, the joy of hearing your favorite old song in a grocery store, the joy of cutting into a perfectly ripe mango. This episode is all about finding happiness and like identifying joy and happiness and how you could create them. Everything about happiness and joy. Now, this is the kind of joy that doesn't announce itself. Most people, they wait for happiness to arrive like a parade, loud and confetti with confetti. Now, it what if like it comes like a whisper instead? The sunlight spilling through a curtain at 6:43 a.m. The way someone saves you the last piece of cake. That feeling when you like finally take off your shoes after a long day. These moments, they don't scream happiness probably, loudly, but then, they just are the simple little things that makes you feel so happy. You know, they don't trend on Instagram, but if you blink too fast, you'll miss them. You know, you are you are sort of sleeping, and slowly that sunlight spills through those curtains, and you feel that warmth of sunlight, the rays of the first sunlight onto your face. It makes you feel happy. It makes me feel happy. It makes some people feel happy about it, and that's the kind of joy that doesn't announce itself. And coming to the second point, this joy might be simple. I'll just admit something. Um, there's this thing, there's this special kind of peace I feel when I see the birds chirping in the trees nearby. And it's not something of a Nobel Prize moment. It's not something of a spiritual revelation, but it brings me a lot of joy. It brings in me a lot of happiness, and that's the thing. Joy doesn't have to be impressive. You might find it while peeling off like a face mask, opening a brand new notebook, using different stationaries, eating cereal while watching cartoons meant for like 8-year-olds. These are sacred and like they are yours, right? Yeah. So third is weighing on a day off, the ultimate luxury. Okay. Here's a scenario. You don't have to, you don't have anywhere to be right now. It starts raining, not like in a dramatic storm, just soft curtain like drizzle. You're inside of your home, wrapped in a blanket with nothing urgent to do. That right here. That is what I call as wealth. We often chase happiness and grand goals, which is beautiful, okay? You know, people should have big goals, but the richness of life is often made of these small, slow Saturdays and Sundays, right? The things that you do just for yourself, right? These are the small little things that makes you happy. Number four, a list of small joys you might have forgotten. Now, like, let me just read you a list. Maybe it will remind you of your own. Maybe it'll make you smile. Number one is a pen that writes really well. Um, Second is seeing strangers be in a cafe or restaurant, laugh and like just be there all all by themselves, right? Be together or be maybe by themselves. Third is the smell of fresh bread. Fourth is the smell of old books and new books. Finding And then next is finding money in an old jacket that you wore once and then you kept some of your pocket money there. And then catching someone laughing at their phone in public when your playlist hits exactly right on a solo walk. Being the only person awake in a quiet house, like you're hungry, and then you decide to like wake up to eat something, and like being the only person awake in a quiet house, and then like you're seeing someone be kind to people, strangers in public. Now, none of these will win awards, but then they win the moment, right? And that's what happiness and joy is all about. And then the next is joy as rebellion. In a world that moves fast and asks more and more from you, slowing down to notice small joys is an act of quiet rebellion. It's saying, I don't need to earn my joy today. I don't need to fix everything before I smile. I can sip my tea slowly. I can, hum um, while I do, while I make my to-do list. I can feel okay for no reason. And that's not laziness, that's freedom, right? Joy brings in a lot of freedom. Happiness brings in a lot of freedom. It creates an identity for who you are. Next is make your life a collage of joy. Think of joy like stickers. You collect them as you go. A little sparkle here, a little color there. They don't look like much alone. But by the end of the week, the page is full. Every small joy you notice adds a layer to your life, like using the fancy mug on a regular Tuesday, rewatching your comfort movie, saying thank you to strangers who possibly has helped you. Whether the whether the people who helps you, or like the waiter who who serves you, or maybe anyone that we see, giving someone a compliment and like seeing their eyes light up. These are your stickers, your clutch, your life. Slow down to feel it. It's it's important to feel the joy. Saying thank you to, I have talked about gratitude, and saying thank you to people is so important, whether it's a waiter who is serving you some food, or maybe somebody who, a stranger who helps you to carry your bag, or maybe um, it could be anybody, a stranger who has seen you and probably decided to help you in something, right? These are the little things, are the little joys that makes your life so much more full. Um, you know, and then joy is something sometimes like we miss joy because we're like in a hurry. So we're always on to the next thing, the next task, the next to do. But again, joy needs space. It needs time. It needs silence. Next time you feel the urge to rush, try this instead. Pause, breathe, look around. You'll probably find something beautiful within reach, like the sound of leaves moving, or the way your cat you know um, naps, or how the sunlight makes your walls look golden. These things don't ask for your attention, but then they deserve it, right? You do not really have to be in a rush. You do not have to be in a hurry. Joy is so simple, and it's such a beautiful thing to experience. So just take it slow. Take it fully inside you. Next is an invitation to start noticing. So here's like my invitation to you all. Start a small joy journal. Don't make it like pretty. Do not overthink it. Just write down 1 to 2 tiny things each day that brought you like a flicker of joy. It could be, oh, I just ate my favorite ice cream. There was like a rainbow. Today, I remembered like an old joke and laughed along. Or I talked to a friend of mine. I met a friend of mine on on the way to the market. Over time, you'll train your brain to spot the light even on dull days. Next is joy isn't the opposite of sadness. This part is important. Joy doesn't mean you're never sad. It doesn't mean that like your life is perfect. They coexist. And joy isn't about pretending everything is okay. It's noticing the good even when everything isn't. And that what makes it powerful, right? Finding happiness in the smallest thing, right? If it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter how perfect, you do not have to like be perfect, show your life that it's perfect and all of that. You don't have to do that. It is okay to not have everything perfect in your life, not have like things aligned. It's okay to have flaws. That's why I say, Joe, have you need to find happiness. You need to find happiness in the smallest little things, because that's what makes us keep. That's what makes us feel happy. That's what makes us who we are, right? It's something that's so important. And the happiness. This next is the happiness of almost nothing. There's this kind of happiness so quiet, like it barely counts as a moment. The kind you feel in the seconds before, like before you start doing something, that moment just before like a friend picks up your call, or the split second before the cake comes out of the oven, the hush before the curtain rises at a play. Happiness sometimes is in the waiting, the almost, the in between of everything, and the repeating joys, okay? We often think joy needs to be new, exciting, fresh, but some of the deepest joy, they're repetitive, like rereading your favorite book, knowing what's going to happen, and loving it anyway. Or like the way your pet always greets you the same way, tail wagging, eyes soft, or your bedtime ritual, like brushing your teeth, curling into your blanket, fluffing your pillow. Repetition is often seen as boring, but what if it's something that make what if it's something that you try to make it more meaningful? What if you consider it to be a small little joy, right? um and that's something so fresh and would be exciting despite how repetitive it is. And next is like the joy in watching other people be happy. Now, this one is very underrated. That's what I say. Watching someone else light up. When, like, a kid gets the toy they wanted, when two strangers laugh in a cafe, when someone does a little dance while, like, walking down the street, or talking about your own self. Maybe you you somebody brings you some really good food that you've been wanting to eat, your favorite chocolate, you buy that. It's free joy. Joy you didn't ask for but get to witness. Joy when observed becomes like contagious. So like go ahead, people watch, or like smile at strangers. The joy in watching other people be happy is such a beautiful thing to do. Now, next is unexpected compliments. Now, let's be honest. You never forget a good compliment, whether it was like given to you 5 years ago, or maybe it was some time back. But someone said something that stuck with you. Like your handwriting is so calming. It's so beautiful. You have a very beautiful laugh, or you are really kind. Store those, and make sure that you give them away to other people too. You never know whose day you're quietly saving. So yeah, and the next is the tiny joys. And like the big metaphors. So let's just like think of some um things things that makes ordinary joy feel like magic. Joy is a warm pitch of sunlight that moves across your bed at noon. Joy is a cat stretching after a nap, slow, effortless, fully present. Joy is a kitchen light at 2 a.m. when someone's like making noodles and like singing off key. Joy is chipped nail polish you don't fix because it reminds you of the of the time when you the first decided to get done with your nail polish, that you did your nail polish by yourself. So yeah, if you can, you could use joy in metaphors. You could think of ways as how joy is present in your life. And the next is joy in the unfinished. Unfinished stories, half done paintings, maybe like a to-do list with only one thing like crossed out. We usually think of incomplete like as a bad thing, but sometimes joy lives in the beginning. The fact that you started something, the hope that you might return to it, the freedom to walk away and come back. Happiness isn't always found in perfection. Sometimes it's found in possibility. Now, the joy in stillness. I try this sometimes. Don't scroll, don't like read or don't move for a while. Just sit there, meditate, okay, for 2 minutes. Just like wait for a while, take deep start breathing, and then you'll notice how your shoulders are relaxing. How your heartbeat feels calm, how quiet isn't empty, it's like full. Stillness is a place joy joy could be found. And so that's also a very important thing. And the joy that anchors you. When the world like feels unstable, joy can be an anchor. Your go-to comfort show, that one friend who texts you, who sends you um reels and memes, the smell of the moisturizer that you use, and the same breakfast you have had since you were a small little kid. They are like the comfort things in your life, the things that anchors you, the things that sort of motivates you to keep on moving, to keep on going. And so you could find the joy in those things. You would find the joy that anchors you, that navigates you through your life. And you don't always need something new. Sometimes the familiar is the most healing kind of happiness. Next is the micro habits of joy. Now you want to train yourself to feel more joy. Build micro habits around it. Light a candle while doing boring tasks. Add one gratitude moment after brushing your teeth. Leave sticky notes of encouragement around your room. Take picture every time something unexpectedly, sort of delights you, because it's okay to store them in your memories, right? Like digital memories. And then keep a jar of like random happy memories, and like pull one out when you feel low. And that's such like a really beautiful thing to do. Keep making, maybe you could make a little pretty jar if you want, and like write some of those small memories, happy memories that you remember. Maybe it's the time where you ate like a really different dessert, or like a different food, or maybe the first time when you learned how to cycle, or maybe if you could remember those little vivid moments, or maybe the phase where you started to learn a new skill, or maybe your birthdays, or maybe talking about things that you did at school, the happiness that you found at school, the people you interacted with school at school, those small little happy interactions. You could write them down there. Now these small practices they lead to big shifts, and so like joy is such a beautiful and it's such a calming thing in your life. So by the end of this day, you may not achieve something massive. You may not post like sort of like an Instagram post or do it for the likes or anything. But maybe just like maybe you will just be there, do things for yourself, find happiness only for yourself, laugh on unexpectedly, let your playlist, your Spotify playlist surprise you. You smell, find happiness and joy in the smell of the rain on warm concrete and like the soil. And these aren't small things, these are the main things that helps you to navigate your own life, and that's what life is really made of. Now, you don't need permission to be happy. You don't need everything to be perfect. It's okay to have flaws. You just need to pay a bit of attention to everything and to be present enough to notice the small things. Because small things, they're not small at all. They are things they there are things that brings in life into you. So these little things, finding joy is finding joy, creating joy, finding happiness, creating happiness in small things are really really important. And this is what all this episode was all about. Okay, so thank you so much for listening. Um, you can follow me on my Instagram account, which is at Farias Utopia, and yeah, go collect some joy today. Find some joy today. You deserve it. Everybody deserves it, even on their ordinary days. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day ahead.